let's start off just with drawing the top of this block of cheese. Okay, and let's see, do I have a blank page? Okay, great. So let's just start off with 2 dots. This is going to represent the 2 outside corners there of the block of cheese, okay? And then we're just going to bring it down to an edge like that. And let's bring that all the way back here. Connect those up. Got my coffee. Okay, let's go move to the front here and just drop a straight, drop a vertical there. Now, if you remember, we've discussed like fanning things out and putting things into perspective. Well, let's do that with this block of cheese here. So let's draw this lightly, another vertical on the back end there. We'll start right here on the front tip, right there. And instead of making this line parallel, instead of making it parallel to this one here, let's slightly fan it in so that this and this will eventually converge at a common vanishing point. Okay, just do it slightly. It's always good to get in a great habit of always trying to draw things in perspective from a standpoint of fanning things either inward to the same vanishing point or outward, coming out from the same vanishing point. All right, there's our block of cheese. What do you say we add some ovals here to get that Swiss cheese feel? Now watch the shape. Watch the shape of these ovals. Now they're going to go in this direction because you're drawing them on the surface of the cheese. And then if you're going to go off around the corner there, this one's going to be like this. Okay? And then the other one's going to be like this. Of course, what makes these work is that you're going to have to add a little bit of value. So it gets a sense that it's concave. A little darker value on top on these guys there. And I know it's darker on top because I'm looking at my reference. You see that? Okay. All right. We're going to move on to our next object now. Look at that nice, lovely doorstop. whenever I'm drawing something that's square on the ground, I do like to, especially if it has a weird top, if it's unlike a box, I do like to draw the base. Where does it come in contact with the ground first? And then I could build upward with that. So let's do that here. So let's start off with, let's start off right there at that corner. So we're gonna put a little dot on our page there. And then go back in that direction. And when I'm drawing these, I'm drawing from my elbow so I get a nice straight line. Okay, this one's going to go back in that direction. I'm going to put a dot in the back there to represent that corner. Now this is where we want to fan this out just a little bit. So ultimately, you don't have to make your line this long. I'm just kind of demonstrating that these two lines will eventually converge at a vanishing point. So just bring that in ever so slightly. And if you wanted to put a dot there to signify where the back corner of that thing is, you could do that as well. Let's draw the back side. And this also is going to slowly converge with this front side. So just make it subtle. They used to say a long time ago, you want to draw through your object, meaning as if it was glass, you could see through it. And this helps you see the overall structure. Let's draw straight up here to get the back of this thing. It's about how high I'm going to go. Okay, this also is going to slightly converge, so we want to make that angle like that. All right, so look, it has a little bit of a top. You see that top edge up top there? So let's draw that first. And we're just going to come out like this. And you can see that what I've done here is I've drawn my perspective different. My eye level on this is a lot lower than our picture, but that's okay because, you know, we want to be inspired by our picture. We don't have to copy it exactly all the time. Okay, now what we do is we just connect the dots. That's the hardest part. Let's get this leather strap in place as well. So I'm going to start my leather strap there, and I think I'm going to end it right there, okay? So all we have to do is just draw the outside shape. Let me change that color real fast. The outside shape of that. You see that? That's what we're going to do. So now this is interesting. What has happened is actually I've drawn the top of this on mine above my eye level. So this is why I know, because it's going to convert. This also is going to converge to that same vanishing point. But that's different from our picture, because our picture, the eye, where the doorstop is much lower. And that happens sometimes. So all we're going to do now is just follow that shape. Oh, look at that. I missed my mark. There it is. Last thing you could do on this object now is kind of erase these lines and back, per se, if you wanted to. If they're confusing you or getting in the way, the structure's down. And we could add a slight tone to the side of our block. I'm going to add some surface lines there. Okay, exciting. Let's move on to our next picture here. Oh yeah, this is my favorite. I love this. I love key lime pie. Perfect morning breakfast right there, key lime pie. Okay, let's give this a go here. I'm going to go ahead and just start at the tip there. Okay, so I'm just going to draw. Oops. Just going to draw a line going back in that direction. I'm going to draw another line going back in this direction now. Now I want you to really observe something here, and this is really important when it comes to drawing this piece of key lime pie. First mark, I want you to we're going to come up to the edge of this whipped cream here. Okay, so just make a mark. Just guesstimate that distance. Okay. And this is where we want to use the phrase "trust what you see and not what you think." All right, because if I look at this, the other edge where it comes in contact, I put a little mark here, and let's just visually look at this. If I drop a vertical at that point, look how close it is. We'll call this, oops. We'll call this A and B. And this is C. Look how close C is to A versus B. You see that? So if I'm going to add that to my picture, I'm probably only going to, wow, that does not look right to me. That doesn't look accurate to me, but, oh, you know, I bet you it's probably a little bit higher there. I'm going to go right there. But this is like really observing what you're seeing versus what you think, all right? So let's go ahead then and just kind of create this nice curve. Now let's think of volume here. Let's think of volume. So let's just come up and draw this lightly. Come up with a straight line, a vertical line, and another vertical line coming out of B right there, just like that. Give me a nice curve. Draw this lightly. This is more of a guide than anything else for us. All right, now curve this around, and we're going to make it just, it's going to start a little bit narrow back here, but it's going to get a little bit wider back here. And then let's come in with a slight angle here. And let's come in straight vertical. This is arbitrary, this distance right there, okay? But we're going to come straight back. So, let's draw the thickness of that crust now, and we're just going to follow that line there. Now, if you think of that of these this edge of whipped cream, this is think of it as spheres that are overlapping one another. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start with this first one here, and we kind of have a nice guide to get some nice volume here. You see that? This is why I drew it more of a cube, because it helps us to visualize volume versus just quickly jumping into spheres. So we'll do this, kind of coming up and around. We could do the next one as well, coming up and around, coming down the front, and the last. Now, with this in place, if you want to, after the class is over, if you want to go into tight detail and try and get these round masses to look more like the picture there, that would be a great exercise for you to do. And I would recommend, when you do it, just really trust what you see and not what you think. For example, let's just say, like, we could see from the picture that this side of this whipped cream here has a little bit of value there. You see that? I'm going to erase this straight edge here because I don't need that anymore. And now I'm going to look very carefully. We'll just add some value to the side here. So as I'm looking at this whipped cream, I can see it's coming in like that. I'm kind of outlining the shadow here. And when I use tone, I don't know if we've talked about using tone as far as yet, but I like to think of tone as only 3 values. All right, so we have our darkest dark. You have a medium value, and then a lighter value. Plus the white of the page, and then super black. Okay? So this is the way I like to think of value. So if I'm going to look at this, this little blob here, I personally can only see maybe 3 values. So I have this lighter value on the side. Okay. I have the white value on top. And then it gets a little bit darker on the edges here. You see this? And I just want to make sure that I'm following the shapes that I see there. See, 3 values. That's all that's all I'm dealing with here. So feel free after we're done, if you want to go back into this and render it up, add some more value. Last thing I want to do before we move on, let's add the value for our crust there. And also overall the side of our piece of pie. Try and keep your values simple. So, you know, you have, and one other aspect I do in order to help me with this is I ask myself, is this and these labels are arbitrary. Let's just say this was a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, a 5. I might ask myself, wow, is the side of this key lime pie a 2 or a 3, I might say in my head. And then I'd say, oh, that's closer to a 2. What about the crust? What value is the crust? Is it a 3 or a 4? Okay, I got that. And then I might even say, are there any blacks in this picture? Well, not on my key lime pie. There might be. This might. No, I think I still would keep that as a 4. I don't see any blacks. You know, the darkest darks would be probably in here, which I'm not drawing, and of course down in here in the shadow. So I want to keep those for my number 5. All right. All right. Let's jump in. Let's jump into our next picture here. There you go. There's a nice breakfast food for you. Enough of that key lime pie, huh? All right, this is another type of a wedge. Another type of wedge here. Okay, so we're going to start off with this top. We're going to start right there. And let me move the picture over just a bit more. There. Oh, let's erase that. All right, we're going to start right there. First line, we're going to draw this ridge line coming down, okay? So we're just going to draw that ridge line. Let's get that. Let's establish how the length of that is going to be right there. Now again, this is another example of trusting what you see. So if let's just kind of visualize how thick that is. You see that? So if I come down here, I'm just going to visualize right about there, I think. All right, let's make a nice, beautiful curve. Make sure you draw from your elbow when you do this. And for me, when I draw curves, I like to pull. So if you were left-handed, you might want to spin. You could always spin your paper around, so you're always pulling those curves. I don't like to push my curves. They get too. I always like to pull my curves. All right, let's work on the inside curve now. And look, it starts right there and it's going to end right there. So let's put a little mark on our drawing to kind of establish that. And if we use that same vertical that we use to measure how thick it is, we get a real sense of how thick that is compared to that down there. So let's use that same mark here. I'm gonna guesstimate I'm right about there maybe. Okay, once again, let's pull that curve around, okay? Okay. All right, let's do that again, but now with the curve on the far side. And then look at that. Look at that distance there. Just a little bit. So let's mark that as well. I'm going to come in just about like that. And I'm going to curve this. Now this is going to be much more narrower there. One thing I've made a slight error on mine, but this is perfect because we could correct things. And this is where I've talked about using a vertical line here for measurement. Another tool of measurement is to look for shape. And so let me show you what I see in my eye, and I want to fix it. All right. So I'm looking at this shape there. You see that? This is what I see in my head. I look at that shape, and I'm comparing it to this shape. You see that? You see how different those are? So what I want to do here is I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that. I just want to adjust this slightly. And this is all part of the drawing process where you're making adjustments. Okay. All right, last thing on our cantelope. Let's see, this is probably going to come out. All right, so let's come out with a straight here to get that far side. And then we're just going to come in like this and get that underside there. I took all those guides off. If you need to look at those guides again, you can rewind the video after we're done here and take a look at them. Okay, let's add some tone to this. This might have been, I'm going to add a little darker tone over here. Okay. I'm adding some surface lines and just kind of going through here and erasing some of my guides. All right, let's bring in another picture here as we come up to the kind of closing it out here. Okay, here's another wedge, but this one is much bigger. Look at that. Still we draw it just exactly the same as we did the others. still exactly the same. So let's start with this base here, and let's just let's get this base right. Let me bring up a new layer here. I'm going to think of drawing those corners there, okay? So there's this corner right there. That's going to be my front corner. Look at this. This is interesting. Remember how we were talking about things converging? That is going in that direction, and this is converging. You see that? Okay, let's converge that then. All right, so this is also going to converge. All right, let's go straight up here. Let's just pick that as a height. All right, this is also going to converge to that same vanishing point, the same that all of these are. Let me move my drawing over a little bit. Oops. All right. These are all converging. Let's kind of come straight up there. All right, that's the back corner. Now this is interesting that we've drawn this. If you think back to the doorstop that we drew a little bit earlier, we drew that the picture was below our eye level, but when we drew it at our eye level, where this is just the opposite. This right there is almost at eye level. That's why it's so foreshortened. Where what we're drawing down here happens to be much lower than our eye level. That means that we're going to see more of the top of our drawing. Then we don't really see any of the top up here. You see that? So this is going to come down just a little bit. This is also going to converge back there. So they're all heading back to the same vanishing point. Okay, that's our little top of our ramp there for our little dog to get up to the top of the bed. Now let's draw the ramp. has a little bit of thickness to it. So let's add that thickness here. And we add the square of the legs there. And my legs, of course, are much more beefier than the ones in the picture there, but it gets you the idea. Okay, I'm gonna get me some more coffee, and I'll leave that there for a second for you to get caught up. So I'll be right back. All right, let's get into our last drawing here for the top of the hour. And I've saved the best for last. You're going to kill me on this one. Okay, so how do we use wedges? Well, this is where wedges come into such an important place along with using cubes. Okay, so look at this. Let's break this down first, okay? So it's not overwhelming and you can visualize how to do this. In a staircase, the landing area is always going to be a square. So if you don't see it already, let me point it out to you here. This is going to be a cube here. Don't draw this, just watch, okay? Okay, there's our cube up there. So let's draw that first, and then we're going to add this wedge to it. Okay? And let's see how far we get with those two elements. And maybe we'll have some time to put some stairs in, okay? Okay, so let's start with this back corner back here. Okay. And once again, I'm going to ground it. So the other corners I'm going to add, I'm going to go ahead and start off with getting it where it comes in contact with the ground. So there's my first angle. Hey, John, good morning. Okay, this is where we want to start drawing some lighter lines to help us. We have a lot of things that are all going to converge to two vanishing points, so we want to make sure that we keep that in mind. There's the back corner. This is also going to converge back here to this vanishing point. I could bet you it's even more narrower than that. So I'm gonna adjust mine. There you go. I like that better. cleaned mine up just a little bit there. Okay, let's come in here and establish where that cube is. So we're gonna come in just like that. This is gonna be the front edge of it. I'm kind of right there with that mark. Okay, that's going to be my next front end there. Nice tall vertical here. Another nice tall vertical back here. And might as well put another tall vertical back here. Now we haven't determined how high this thing is. We're going to do that right now, okay? So let's just put a mark right there. This is where I'm going to determine is the top of this staircase. So here's the tricky part that I want you to be aware of. Let me just let me get rid of that guy just for a second so you could see where I'm going with this. This is heading back to that vanishing point somewhere out there. Well, this dot right there also has got to head back to that vanishing point. So I'm going to, and it's also this point here is also close to eye level. So I'm going to say that it's there. So those two lines will converge at a distant spot. I don't have to worry about it per se, but as long as they are going back in the same direction, okay? So with that being said, this right where we have that intersection of that back corner and that line, that's okay. That's going to be the top of my staircase there. That's going to be the top of the railing. Now this corner is going to go back to, let's erase this line here so we don't get confused. This is going to converge with these guys to the same vanishing point. And now where it comes in contact with that vertical there, okay, so there, that's the top of my cube. You see that? Bring my picture back up now. All right, let's work on this landing platform right here, okay? So I'm gonna kind of establish where that point is right there. And this is arbitrary right now. I'm just going to say it's about there. Okay, this corner is going to come in that direction. So there's the edge there. This is going to converge with those guys, so that's going to be the edge right there. Let's get the back edge of this, and we're going to start right there. This is going to put us right about there. All right, converging back. use that front corner there. And this is going to converge back. Now I can darken in these lines because I know where my landing platform is. No ruler, just use your arm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just some straight, thick lines to simulate all of this right here. Okay, let's draw our wedge. And I think what we're going to do here, because we are up at top of the hour, we're going to leave it just like that. And I know this drawing is incomplete, but I think what we'll do is we actually have one more class next Tuesday to finish, next Monday to finish this off. This back to basics class, we're going to extend it one more day, I think, into next Wednesday. And we'll come back and visit specifically looking at stairs on that day, because there is a lot you can pick up from that. All right, so we'll come back and revisit this in 1 week. All right, we'll do some. We might pick up the same drawing here, or I might just bring in a couple different stairs, and we'll do a deep dive into drawing stairs using cubes and wedges next Monday. That will be on next Wednesday. This coming up Monday, we're going to combine some forms, so you're going to like that. More organic, okay? Well, listen, hey, thank you for watching. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. Do comment and give a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, subscribe to that. Join our Facebook group. We have a lot of fun in there, and I would love to have you. Okay? Thanks for watching, Sharon. Thanks for watching, John, and tuning in. We'll see you guys next time, okay? All right. Bye-bye.